Hey everyone, don't get anxious, get prepared. Your career engineer right here, and welcome to another episode of TCE, I guess, Career TV. And today we're going to talk about this really cool report that came out by LinkedIn based on their data, which ranked some incredible cities across our country as some of the best places for remote work. What's really interesting is like where I reside, that metropolitan area actually made the list. So, I want to really talk about that, but also with you and how what this means for you. What does this mean in terms of remote working and hybrid working and how this is impacting career, life, and business, and what you can do if you're in one of them spots to get one of those jobs in one of those spots and how it's just going to impact the whole game. So get your pen, get your paper ready for those of us who are low tech. Those of us who are high tech, okay, get your digital device, get all that stuff ready. We're going to have this really cool conversation about this topic today, those type. In fact, let me show you. Let me show you like really what I'm talking about, right? So we can know like this, like boom. The top 20 remote work havens. I mean, these are havens, right? That's what they said. They call them havens. So we're going to get into it, have this conversation. So we want your questions. We want your comments. If you missed watching us now, like when we're live, send us an email, info@tcenow.com, and we'll get your question. But this is going to be a really cool conversation. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. I tell you, when I say I'm going to be right back, I'm serious. Like, I'm going to be like right back. So let's get into this great conversation. So remember, you can find us anywhere and everywhere at that little ticker going down below. So check it out. Find us online. We're everywhere and things of that nature. So today, again, that this top 20 list. And if you go to LinkedIn, if you're on LinkedIn, which you should be. I mean, how many times have I said every single time we talk? You got to be in that space, and you have to make sure that space counts. Like what you're doing in that space, it's got to be powerful and purposeful because that's this other way we're doing things for connectivity and access and opportunity. So the folks at LinkedIn, wanted to look at all their data from the time of the pandemic up until I think it was until August 2021, if I think I've got that right, and to look at the jobs that were posted and their databases and what was posted and how folks responded and where they live. We give LinkedIn a whole bunch of data in case you're not aware. That's another show. But if they do produce some great reports that are good for some discussion points, so we can figure out what we're going to do next. So, but even before I jump into this, here's something I need to share with folks, particularly those of us who are still having the conversation about the chaos and the change, right? About chaos and the change. And the only thing I can share with you is going to give you some comfort this morning is the only thing that is permanent is change. Just deal with it, breathe it, sleep it, eat it, whatever you do with it, deal with it. That's what's permanent. So the chaos and the change is permanent. So the things we're going to talk about today is a reflection of the opportunities that were fueled or that arrived through our chaos and how it affects us in the workplace with how we work, where we live, and all of that. So let's just accept this push up today. Just say, hey, to yourself, like, hey, you, me, guess what? The only thing that's permanent is change. And instead of me fighting it, I'm going to roll with it, baby. Like, isn't that the song, Roll With It? So, again, if you have questions or comments, we look forward to getting them from you. You can always, again, reach out to us by email with your question or comment on this episode or anything else you've heard me say over the many years I've been doing this or since where you've been watching me here on your platform. So we're really excited to have this conversation because, data does matter. And as much as I know we feel a certain way and we wish things were different and we ask, I'm big on the word why, we got to know our why before we get our strategy. But, from a macro level, all of this has happened in this short amount of time. And, how am I supposed to shift it? How am I supposed to deal with this? So we're going to jump into that because I know it can be overwhelming for many, but there's some good stuff going on too. So we want to make sure we get into that. So let's talk about the cities that made the cut, right? There are some cities that made this cut and there's this top 20. I'm going to have some notes I'm going to be looking at. So if you see me look down, that's what's going on. I'm trying to make sure I got it right. And I believe in one of my blog posts about this, which means you want to make sure you go to our website. You can see the scroll below to get to the blog about the source where this article came from, because we're really big on that. One thing to know, which is this whole who are these work havens? There was this huge list, this huge data list came up with 20 cities, but vacation spots really crushed it, which I think is interesting because in theory I reside in one, but Florida rocked it with 6 different cities, right? And in this report, they did link it from, well, they did list like larger metropolitan areas and some small cities too. And so to give you a couple, so the point that what we're hearing with some of these vacation spots, I believe Florida had 6 of them, and I believe South Carolina had 2 of them, and the 757, which is my area code, we made it as a metropolitan, not one particular city, but all the 7 cities. It was called the Hampton Roads metropolitan area. That area made the work haven list, which means you can live here and work anywhere. So if you're going to live somewhere, why not live where there's palm trees and sunny days and great weather and a resort city or those kind of things? And that seems to be what has happened when LinkedIn looked at their data. So kudos to Florida. I'm like, I ain't mad at y'all, but hey, why not live in paradise and work for Silicon Valley, right? And that type of thing. So that's what we kind of saw first. In terms of my neck of the woods, which Virginia actually got 2, which is, remember, there's only 20 spots. So as a metropolitan area, in terms of big cities, the Hampton Road region came in number 6. Now, you may have seen some data on Virginia. I know we got some issues, but we were ranked number 1 for business. There's livability involved in some of this matrices. Of course, there are types, how much percentage of remote jobs are available, the folks that are going for the jobs, the workforce, all that stuff, is important, particularly with cost of living. So the fact for a big city, well, what we call a metropolitan area, I'm not going to say big city, a metropolitan area, we ranked number 6, and which is saying that 28.1% is the remote working. Like there's these jobs that are, people are applying for jobs, like 28.1% is the percentage of folks applying for these jobs, and the jobs is there. When LinkedIn did their average data, again, all this is based like on their data. I think their number was 23.1 was the average. Okay, somewhere in the mid and below 25%. So being at 28 meant that Hampton Roads is doing better than average. So not bad. You got, Hampton, Newport News, Norfolk, Portsmouth, the beach, and other cities, right? So, but we, excuse me, we came in that way for a larger metropolitan area. But Roanoke, Virginia, small city, came in number 10 on that list. And look at them, 32.4% remote working, being a remote work haven. You were seeing job opportunities in that space, and they're higher than us. So what's up in Roanoke? I don't know, but some people like living there, right? So live there, work anywhere is what we're finding. However, the big winners in this LinkedIn data was Cape Coral. I've never even heard of it, right? Cape Coral, Florida. They were the big winners, 33%. Again, bigger than that 23, which is average. So they were number 1. I mean, I guess it's okay. I mean, Florida, if you're into palm trees and blue skies and sandy beaches. I mean, if that does it for you, live there, work anywhere. And the big winner for a small city, this Bend, Oregon, where I guess it's somewhere near, not too far from what's the other town up there, Seattle or whatever, somewhere, all that West Coast love, right? And 41.8%. And I think it's near some technology hubs. And they've actually built infrastructure with this, like all these years, all this time, not just with COVID, but it seems like people have resided near this space, and they're kind of responding as a small city, like building things to attract the folks to come live here and work elsewhere. But they're West Coast, so 41.8%. It's a haven, according to LinkedIn. Like if Oregon's your thing, you want small city life, but big paycheck, you can check it out. So that was really interesting. And again, we go to, well, all right, career engineer, what type of jobs? These remote jobs, where are they? What kind of work is this? Who are these people getting these great jobs? They can work from home and doesn't matter where they live. So we're looking at some of the what we found in, again, LinkedIn specific data, medical billing. And in fact, truth be told, that industry was doing this type of thing before, but I think just more of it, obviously, with hospitals and healthcare facilities having to do things different in COVID. But there were lots of folks that were in this space, credentialed, certified folks working from home prior to all this. But recruiting, data analysis, what we doing right now, people who are mining data and interpreting data and telling you what to do with the data, online instruction, legal work, content marketing, and of course those tech experts in IT, information systems. All these folks, of course, are definitely the winners, in this kind of quick shifting of online, hybrid, work only, work from home, some kind of how type of new lifestyle. So if you're in one of these industries or considering jumping into one of these industries so you can live in, Cape Coral, Florida, or Bend, Oregon, um, of course, or Hampton Roads. Check it out. Now, here's what's interesting: who was not on the list, and this is, lots of mixed reviews and conversations about this. These really big cities. Remember the whole, I remember as a kid. I mean, maybe you guys remember too. You get grown, you want to leave home and go to the big city. I'm going to go to New York. I'm going to go to these places. And of course, San Francisco, technology center of the world, always, all the tech giants, the Silicon Valley, you live out there, make all this incredible money and all that kind of good stuff. But how interesting that San Francisco and New York did not do well on this list. They did not do well at all. And reason being, I mean, we're going to get to why, but that's 16.4%. Maryland chimed in with underwriter. Absolutely, Maryland. Yeah, I'll insure. In fact, I have some clients who are in the insurance industry, and in fact, one who lives in like rural, I would almost say like a Roanoke, but rural Virginia. But the job is based in like New Jersey, with New Jersey pay, by the way. Okay, New Jersey pay, by the way. And yes, in the insurance business, for real. I mean, and first it was temporal, but it seems like the hybrid remote, it's fine. People are producing, folks are producing. But back to San Francisco, New York, they only scored 16.4%. So remember, it was 23.1 was the average. So, and of course, why did they not fare so well? I mean, we had this huge migration in this last few months here with people going, back to the suburbs. I mean, I even know folks in my little ecosystem that, were living, that life, went to DC, went to, doing all the things that big city life has to do. But they kind of migrated back. COVID, of course, maybe had an influence, but folks did that huge rethink, reset, reimagine, life, work, and space, and the things in between, and family, and the shutdown did others shutting down, the way we thought about what's prosperous and what's growth and all those things. And of course, in those big, wonderful cities, yeah, you're making some great money in San Francisco, but what are you paying in rent? What are you paying in livability, the high cost of living, the congestion, the population, all the things that go with it? So that's the other reason why San Francisco and New York, there's this huge exodus, and they just didn't rank well. So you can live in Hampton Roads, or you can live in Myrtle Beach and work for a company in San Francisco, work for a company in New York, or any place else. So that's this new trend. And the people who are a lot smarter than me believe that this is it. This is our moving forward. This is our new shift. And there was I believe I want to say, when I talked about this other study, LinkedIn is great for data, y'all. If y'all don't, hopefully you're up there doing stuff and paying attention and making sure your profiles look great. But it's also a great business intelligence portal to get lots of information. Let's see. Marilyn also she says the only issue is there's not a junior program. You have to come in with plenty of knowledge. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you hit it on the head there, Marilyn. You're right. Particularly in that industry, I think she was referring to the insurance industry. The folks who are winning, the folks that are winning these opportunities are winning this season, are folks, they were like uncommonly prepared in these spaces. It's not like you're going to jump in and someone's going to train you. It's like they came with it. They were already just in the right place at the right time, for the right, at the right time, ready to go, ready to go. And they've won. So yeah, that in addition to how we're working differently in these 20 cities who made this cut for being work havens per LinkedIn data, the folks that really are crushing it in that space, I mean, or they had it to go. And when this shivot happened, y'all remember my shivot is shift and pivot. They were just the perfect talent at the right time, that moment. Doesn't mean there's not going to be space for the rest of us, but our catch up has to be significant. I mean, we got to catch up on our own. I mean, that's just where it is. And you've seen that too in your places and spaces, right? You've seen it. So those who are ready, and some of us are getting ready, and we can get there too. But those who are ready to go, squared away, ready to go, and they won. I mean, they were the first adopters. They got it and they ran with it. So what does all this mean for you? All this LinkedIn data, what does it mean? These 20 top cities. And again, my Hampton Roads, Virginia area made the cut. Number 6 for metro areas. I mean, Roanoke, Virginia came in for the small cities, but Florida won. Of course, with South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, and Charleston. Not bad, not too shabby, right? So what does this mean for us? It just means, let's face it, competition for remote jobs are intense. They are, but they're out there. And the I think I was leading to this earlier, but a research data from LinkedIn that I talked about maybe 90 days ago was sharing that even with their postings, right? You have Indeed and all these other mega job boards, but even with LinkedIn's recruiting services, where companies are posting jobs on LinkedIn, they saw almost 32%, like an increase of remote and hybrid work versus back in the office. Again, for certain sectors, and companies are still looking at this as a way to kind of have an incentive or a carrot for those agencies that can do that. So competition for a great remote job is intense. But remember, 3 years ago, we weren't having this conversation. This was not an option. There were some jobs that had a teleworking, we called it telework back then, right? A telework option, but they were really for significant folks, right? And maybe C-level folks or senior management. It wasn't for the everyday John and Jane who've been at the job for a while. The job wasn't transitioned to meet their needs, and now it is. So hybrid and remote work is here to stay. I truly believe it. I don't think it's going to rescind back to pre-COVID times. Companies will rethink their policies as we move forward. They may have an annual rethinking of, well, let's see how this works, or let's see how that works, and decide, what they want to do. But for the most part, expect to see opportunities where you can hybrid. I mean, in fact, I have someone I know who they're working 100% remote here in the 757, but their job is tied to a DC area based company, right? And it's 100% remote. Okay. They boom, boom, boom. But the person had to go get a computer, and maybe they thought they would be mailed to them. They had to get in their car and drive to go pick it up. But it happens once one drive up, maybe every 90 days is going to be part. Don't They will need to expect that the 3, 4, or 5 hour ride it might take them to get to wherever the home quarters is that they have to go to is part of the deal with remote work. So don't think that's always just sitting home and not going. You might be required to get on a plane, train, bus, or car to get somewhere. So make sure you have the capacity and the capability to do that. And there's like, but I can't go. Yes, you better go, because that's the only thing you got to do if you're doing that hybrid remote work. So this is exciting. I mean, it's a different time. As I share with my push-up, don't be afraid of it. Don't fight it, because as we know, the only thing permanent is change. And that's what we're going for and what we're going with as we move forward. So I want to thank you for enjoying us today, or watching us today, or listening to me today. I appreciate it. Remember, you can find us everywhere at tcenow.com, tcenow.com. Don't forget to send us an email or a comment, or whatever platform you're enjoying this on. If you are enjoying it, we definitely ask you to like and follow and ring the bell, or set up the bell, so you can definitely be alerted the next time we come forward with some content for you to help you empower your career, your life, and your business. So y'all be blessed. I want you to have an amazing week. I want you to stay safe, and we will chat next time. So don't get anxious. Always be prepared.